today's 6-minute makeover, we're looking at a handmade jewelry shop called The Roving. In this shop, our seller creates statement and beaded jewelry. This seller got in touch with me because she's been working on her photos and her SEO, and she's just not seeing the right amount of traffic to hit her goals when it comes to making sales. So what can you do when you have a beautiful storefront like this and you're just not seeing the traffic that you would expect? If you have a problem like this, you want to start with the obvious differences between you and bigger sellers. Just looking at the differences between yourself and some much larger sellers can give you some clear guidance in terms of what you should be working on initially. So in our seller's case, she has 94 items and she's had 113 sales. Now let's compare her to some bigger jewelry sellers, people who are either selling beaded or statement jewelry, and let's take a look at what they're doing. Here we have another beaded statement jewelry shop. This one's made 7,400 sales and it has 428 items. And let's do one that's more statement jewelry related. So here is a beaded statement jewelry shop. She's made over 29,000 sales and she has 859 items. Okay, so immediately off the bat, we have a shop with 400, 300, 500, 800 items compared to her 94. When it comes to SEO, a lot of people think they can just throw 10 items up on Etsy, and as long as they do really good SEO, then those items will sell. But the reality is that jewelry is a crowded niche. In fact, if we go to Etsy jewelry, we can see exactly how crowded it really is. There are over 15 million items when you search for jewelry and accessories. If you search for jewelry alone, there are over 9 million items. So this is a crowded niche. That means her 94 items are a teeny tiny percentage of the total of what's on Etsy. So finding a shop that's like 0.001% of all the items that are on Etsy is going to be nearly impossible no matter how good your search is. So if you're in this situation, you have two options at this point. One, you can create more items. That's the obvious move, and many sellers will be able to do this. They can create lots of items. But if you're in a situation where you can't create lots of items, the way to resolve this problem is to start driving your own traffic and taking control of the situation yourself. In order to do that, there are going to be multiple resources below this video that will help you figure out how to deal with driving your own traffic. That also includes another 6-minute makeover video that can help you. So in the case of this seller, let's say that she's going to add some items because that's what most people pick because it is the most straightforward thing and you can do it now. So before you start adding all those items, you want to make sure that your SEO is totally on point and you're using all the right terms. So let's take a look at some of the terms that she's using here. Let's look at this one. Our seller is using a lot of really specific terms. For example, obsidian multi-stone bracelet, minimal edgy bracelet, natural stone jewelry gift. These are great words, but when it comes to the first thing you're calling your item, you really want to make sure that all of these words really count. So yes, she has some great search terms in here, but this is what I would call a long tail keyword. That means it's a very complex keyword that gets the exact customer who's looking for exactly what you sell. And the reality is there probably aren't that many people out there searching for snowflake obsidian multi-stone bracelet. So the first part of your title, as well as your tags down here, need to be more related to what the customer's searching if you're struggling with traffic. If you're not struggling with traffic, using these longer, more complex keywords might work really well for you. But if you are struggling with traffic, it's clear that you're being too specific. So the reality is that long tail keywords kind of suck. People are going to get mad at me for saying that, but everyone thinks they're magic. But there's one thing people forget when they use long tail keywords. This is Etsy, not Google. Google has literally trillions of results. Long tail keywords are 100% necessary just to get found in that hot mess. Now, Etsy, on the other hand, only has millions of results. And while that may still seem like a lot, let's see what happens when we look at the traffic for long tail keywords. Okay, these are my current stats on Etsy for the last 30 days. If you take a look at the search terms that are getting me traffic, you'll notice that they're pretty simple. Wall art, coffee mugs, funny coffee mugs, art prints. So if some of these really simple 1 and 2 word phrases are getting me the big traffic, let's take a look and see what's happening with some of our sellers' terms on Marmalade. Okay, so the most important part of this seller's title contain the keywords snowflake, obsidian, and multi-stone bracelet. So let's take a look at what Marmalade has to say about these keywords. The first one is snowflake, obsidian. We can see that there's very few searches for this, and the engagement is also super duper low. In fact, the average renewal time on this item is 2 months. So if this is an indicator of how frequently an item like this sells, it's really no wonder that our seller is struggling with sales. Now let's take a look at multi-stone bracelet. We're looking at the same thing, but with even lower engagement here. So fewer searches, fewer engagement, average renewal is even longer. So that means this first part of the title is not serving her at all. This is the most important part of your title. Google can see it, Etsy looks at it. If you're struggling with traffic, I can almost 100% guarantee that you're using complicated terms, jargon, or long tail keywords that Etsy customers just plain aren't searching for. What does that mean? Your customer doesn't know what the right name for stuff is. If you're a professional artist, I'm betting you're guilty of this. Etsy is the #1 place I buy jewelry from, and even after years of searching and buying there, I still don't know what stones are called. I have no idea what the different jewelry techniques are, and 99% of the time when I'm searching on Etsy, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'll know it when I see it. Your job is to get me to see it in the first place. And you can do that by naming your item something super simple that I'll actually search for. So in the case of this seller, she's selling edgy statement jewelry. Now if I search for edgy statement jewelry as a customer, would she come up? Let's find out. So we are on the first page of search results, and I am definitely seeing things that are similar to what she sells, but I'm not seeing what she sells. Now, Etsy customers will probably go several pages in, that's a safe bet, but her items should be coming up closer to the front here. Because as a customer, I'm looking for exactly what she's selling. I literally just described her items by looking at her shop, and I'm not seeing them here. So by naming your item something super simple that I'll actually search for, you can really make a difference in terms of getting enough traffic to make those regular sales. So that's today's 6-minute makeover.